Learn to use your powers unless you wish to be used by them. Hello, I'm Carla, psychotherapist and mindset coach, and on this channel, I help you get unstuck and reach your goals by exploring topics that shift your mindset so you can live your highest potential. We are starting a new reading of a new book. I've wanted to do this book for so long. It is Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell. I love this book so much. It is so profound and so needed. It's really hitting home, so I want to share it with you. We're going to go through it together, so we're going to start with the preface. And I'm going to read it from my computer, so it's right here. Usually I read from a book here, a physical book, but I'm going to be reading it from my screen. So let's do this. Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell. This is the preface. Students for many years have come to this school asking for a better understanding of God and desiring knowledge of the best way to get the most out of life. They have heard God spoken of as being afar off when he is as close to us as the breath we breathe, closer than our hands and feet. I remember one time being really mad. Someone's like, God's so close. He's telling you the answers. If you ask, he just whispers it. And I'm like, why does God have to whisper? Why can't he yell like with a bullhorn so I can hear it? And they're like, he whispers because he's so close. That was comforting to me. So this is what he's saying. He's saying that God is as close to us as the breath we breathe, closer than our hands and feet. They have heard him spoken of as love, divine mind, divine intelligence, Jehovah, God, Lord, first cause, primal substance, and other names. Being of an analytical mind, I too have wanted to know the facts of a truth with a capital T. If it is a truth, there are facts to be had, and they can prove themselves, not alone in spirit, but in a very practical way. It is my intention to present these lessons simply, without high-minded words or vague statements that sound pretty and promising. The terms above named are all synonymous. They mean one and the same thing, and I choose to use a simpler name that everyone will understand. I shall call God working in our lives law. I love that. I too came to that same conclusion that the source, this big energy that runs this universe, is law. It doesn't deviate from the law. All right, I shall call the working in our lives law. Interpreting the law in several ways should bring it more clearly into our way of thinking. Then, as we strive to work with the law, we are living closer to God, and such living brings a better understanding. As you grow in knowledge and are able to form better opinions, do not hesitate to change your views. Ooh, that is so good. I always repeat what one of my mentors said, that one of her mentors said. Don't quote me because I can change my mind at any time. So he's saying, as you grow in knowledge and are able to form better opinions, don't hesitate to change your views. Learn, grow. And it could be uncomfortable when we're raised with certain points of view. I know for me, like I was raised in a certain religion with certain points of view. And I was like really defensive, like when people would question me, or I would feel unsettled if I questioned myself, or if I had to change. It's like, oh no, none of this was true. Or like, let's believe, like, if you ever believed in Santa Claus, and it's like when you found out that there was different truths out there, just remember how that felt. It's not comfortable to change our beliefs. When we believed something, when we were into something and it worked for us, but then we grow into a new version and it doesn't work anymore, and we want to hold on to it. That's what a lot of people do, especially when it comes to religion. They grow in personal development or their own spiritual development or different modalities, and they try so hard to work their religion into it when it doesn't fit. I certainly experienced that on certain levels. So do not be afraid to change your mind and change your views. Remember, the wise man changes his mind. The fool never. Ooh, that's good. There can be no progress without change, no growth without renewal. I like this. I like that it's here and I get to look at the camera a little bit more. There must be a constant stream of new thought, better thought, and truer thought to ensure progression in life. As soon as you perceive the better, let go of the old. Grasp the new. And it's okay to let go of the old. I think, we just get comfortable and we're sentimental, overly sentimental sometimes with things. It's like when there's something new, totally embrace it. Let go of the old. Just grab onto the new fully and completely. It's about releasing the old so that you can make room for the new. So as soon as you perceive the better, let go of the old, grasp the new. To continue to hold on to the old and inferior when the new and superior is at hand is to retard growth, and to this one cause may be traced many of the ills of man. So true. Proceed to use your thinking faculty and take care that it does not use you. Master your mind and guide it intelligently. That is, exercise discrimination in all your thinking. Exercise discrimination in all of your thinking. Learn to think as you ought to think. Give your mental life to the matters that are absolutely essential to your welfare, and the balance of your thought to themes of beauty, truth, and progress. Wow, let's read that again. Master your mind and guide it intelligently. That is, exercise discrimination in all of your thinking. Learn to think as you ought to think. Give your mental life to the matters that are absolutely essential to your welfare, and the balance of your thought to themes of beauty, truth, and progress. In other words, live the ideal, but do not neglect the practical. Aim to adjust the two and to strive to be on the outside what you idealize on the inside. Strive to be on the outside what you idealize on the inside. Your thoughts make you. Your thoughts make you. And your ideals, principles, or ruling desires will determine your destiny. My goodness, your thoughts make you. Our thoughts make us. And our ideals, principles, and ruling desires will determine my destiny. Learn to use your powers unless you wish to be used by them. Make a daily effort to use the knowledge you have gained. Try to improve upon all your opinions. Endeavor to obtain a truer and larger conception of each of your personal views. Always be growing, always be expanding, not just physically, in your career, in your money, in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul, in your opinions, in your thinking. Endeavor to obtain a truer and larger conception of each of your personal views. This process entails effort, but all such mental discipline is highly constructive. It leads to a steady increase of mind power, and it is the mind that matters most among life's actualities. You may occasionally blunder. We are all inclined to do this, more so in the earlier stages of our mental development. However, we learn by our mistakes. Yes, we do. I sure do. Then, by the constant use of our intelligence, we cause our faculties to grow so strong and alert that in time we are able to avoid further errors. It is like a muscle. It seems like so much work. Like when I coach people or I'm in therapy with people and I'm trying to get a concept through, or we're trying to break through a limiting belief or a pattern. And I've been through this myself too. It's like, I can't do this. Like, there's no way, the results aren't there. I've tried this for years, for decades. But if we just use our intelligence constantly, discipline our thoughts, we do over time, it says, we develop this muscle to avoid those old mistakes, and it's worth it. It's so worth it. For example, I used to be really anxious. Like, I used to ruminate. I used to overthink, and I did not know how to live any other way. But through time, through study, I had no other choice. Like, was I going to suffer and be in pain, or was I going to do the work to find a way to regulate my emotions and to handle my emotions, to be more peaceful and calm? I did it, and now I am. I'm so grateful. Of course, there's some times when I do get anxious, but it is a far cry from how I used to live every single day. So I'm so grateful. He's so right. By constant use of our intelligence, we cause our faculties to grow so strong and alert that in time we are able to avoid further errors. So we're just sharpening these mental tools so that we can use them when things come at us, right? Man's problems are mental in nature. They have no existence outside of themselves, and it has been discovered that nearly all will yield up their solutions when subjected to a broad and exact analysis. Let's really hear that. Man's problems are mental in nature. They have no existence outside of themselves. And it has been discovered that nearly all will yield up their solutions when subjected to a broad and exact analysis. You can acquire this ability by studying the law of life and its modes of expression. Then, by constant effort, use your thinking faculty in constructive ways as you work with these laws. Have good and sound reason for all the views you hold. Do you have good and sound reasons for all the views you hold right now? I don't. I still have to every day examine, Carla, why do you believe that? Why are you getting that result? What's behind this? What's blocking? It's daily work, but it becomes fun, and your results just keep getting exponentially better, and I'm here for that. So have good and sound reasons for all the views you hold. As you try to find these, many of your old-time views will fall into pieces. Form clear and definite ideas regarding your convictions as to why you do as you do, and as to why you think as you think. Why do we do as we do? Why do we think as we think? Perfect example. I always, we're programmed genetically and environmentally. Environmental programming is much more important and has more of an impact on us as human beings than genetic conditioning, our environmental conditioning. And so usually we're conditioned by our family, by our teachers, by the neighborhoods we grew up in, by our extended family, by the churches we go to, whatever it was, we were programmed as children. And that is truly the way we just continue to carry and operate when we're older, unless we change it. If we're happy with it, we keep it. But if it's not working or we don't agree with it or it's causing problems in our life, it's our responsibility to change that. So he's saying many of these old time views will fall to pieces. Oh, why do we think the way we think? Why do we act the way we act? The story that comes to mind is, I think I heard this story at a lecture. So the gist of the story is there was this woman cooking a pot roast, and it was a gorgeous, piece of meat. Like, I don't know if it's like a prime rib, but you know how the end cuts are like really good, like the end cuts are great. But she cut off the ends and put it in the pan, and her friend who was there with her was like, why did you cut those ends off? They're like the best part. She goes, it's a family recipe. I don't know. We just do it that way. She's like, why do you do it that way? She goes, I'll call my mom. So she called her mom. She goes, Mom, why do we cut off the ends for the roast before we put it in the pan? She goes, I don't know. That's the recipe. She goes, well, call your mom, call grandma. So 3 generations now. So the mom called grandma, and the mom's like, the girl's mom said, Mom, why do we cut the ends off the roast? And she goes, oh, honey, because my pan was too small. The pan was too small, so she had to cut the edges off. And then the daughter did it because her mom taught her that way. And then her daughter did it that way. Nobody questioned why they did it. They had big enough pans for it, but they would just not question. They would just follow the recipe when things changed. So that's why it's so important to question, why do we do things? But a lot of people get defensive. Why are you asking me that? Why? Don't question it. Just do it. We should always question without judgment. But it's so important to question, because why do we do what we do? Why do we think what we think? Who taught us? Who programmed us? Is it working for us anymore? Is it healthy? Is it conducive to our mental health? It's like, families that drink, it's like we just drink whiskey during the holidays. Well, can everybody hold their liquor? Are people blacking out and getting in arguments and there's a bunch of drama? Everyone's high anxiety. We just drink during the holidays. It's like, is that working for us anymore? Maybe we should really question that and change the way we do things. Why do we do what we do? Why do we think what we think? So why do we do as we do? Why do we think what we think? Such practice is like conducting a mental house cleaning when we question why we do what we do and think what we think. The practice of clear thinking tends to clarify the mind, tones up the faculties, sharpens the perceptions, and gives one a stronger and better grasp of the basic essentials for a larger and richer life. Clear and exact thinking is a very great necessity. It is, in fact, a sure means to advancement on the material as well as the spiritual planes. Clear and exact thinking is a great necessity. A line of distinction, however, should be drawn between mere surface thoughts, that is, ordinary, trivial, and commonplace thinking, and real thought, which is associated with the understanding of truth with a capital T. The latter is deep thinking, which arouses dormant powers, quickens the perceptions, and leads to the enlargement of understanding. The former is but a passing phase of mental activity, while the latter governs the life of man. So he's saying that we have 2 types of thinking. We have to distinguish between the 2. Surface thoughts or real thought. And real thought, he says, governs the life of man. The shallow surface thought that we give to the ordinary duties and small things of daily life is not the thought that reforms our character, develops our mind, or changes our destiny. It is the positive, deep, and penetrating thought that comes from profound and strong conviction born of a higher perception and a clearer realization of the truth. The surface idea is not the real thought. The inner convictions which control one's aims, desires, and motives constitute the real thought of the individual and wholly determine the course of his life and personal destiny. Let's read that again. The inner convictions which control one's aims, desires, and motives constitute the real thought of the individual and wholly determine the course of his life and personal destiny. Wow. Psychologists tell us that every individual is controlled by his convictions, whether he is aware of it or not. Such convictions largely determine the nature of his thinking. The inner thought, coming from the heart, represents the real motives and desires. What do you have conviction in? What are you so sure of your beliefs? Are they working for you? How do they make you feel? Are they getting you to the destiny and the life that you desire, that you dream for yourself, that you want? If his ideas or convictions are wholesome and true to his higher nature, all will be well. and he will reflect something of the harmony and beauty and utility of his constructive and superior views in his personal life. If his convictions or ideas are not wholesome and true, he will reflect something that is discordant, inharmonious, and evil. Ooh. Always make it a point to move forward in your mind, ever seeking to unfold your power of thought and to develop hidden possibilities. Learn to train the mind to clear and exact thinking. Learn to train the mind to clear and exact thinking. Your ability to do so will grow rapidly by regular exercise and discipline. No normal person wants to decrease in power and ability. No normal person does want to decrease in power and ability, sir. Therefore, strive to cultivate your intelligence and to express better, bigger, and superior thought on all matters about which you may think. There is so much good in the world that it can outbalance the evil. Therefore, you can go on thinking more constructive and good thoughts every day about yourself, your fellow man, life, and all natural things to the constant enrichment of your mind and the improvement of your whole being. Let's read that again. There is so much good in the world that it can outbalance the evil. Therefore, you can go on thinking more constructive and good thoughts every day about yourself, your fellow man, life, and all the natural things to the constant enrichment of your mind and the improvement of your whole being. That's really powerful. You cannot get the most out of these lessons by reading them once or twice. They should be read often and studied with scrutiny. You will find with each reading something clearer than before. The author. Wow, that is just the preface to Working with the Law. We will dive into chapter 1. I don't know if I'll be able to do a chapter of video because I want to keep these to about 20 minutes. So we're going to dive in to chapter 1 from Working with the Law from Raymond Holliwell. Chapter 1, titled Working with the Law. I'm excited. I am so excited. If you have never read this book, Working with the Law by Raymond Holliwell, it is a good one. There are free audios on YouTube of it as well, but I really like to read it myself and then kind of infuse any lessons and explain it a little bit more here. So I'm really excited. Thank you for being here with me. I always love to learn and grow. If you have any comments or any takeaways or any aha moments, please leave them in the comments. And if you don't already know, I am a psychotherapist and a mindset coach, and I am a certified coach at the Napoleon Hill Institute. I offer free 30-minute coaching calls. All the information's below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you next time.